A very good morning to all the students. I hope every one of you is fine and in your best health. So today we'll be doing our fifth chapter, which is the last chapter of our chemistry portion. That is periodic classification of elements. About the periodic classification, we have read a little bit in the previous classes as well, but in this chapter we'll be studying it in detail. So towards the end of the 18th century, in the beginning of the 19th century actually, the number of elements, they were increasing. So as the number of elements were increasing, that means that elements were there in the atmosphere, in the earth, but scientists were not aware of those elements. So when they were studying those elements, they were being discovered, so they also wanted to study their properties, and because of that they need a classification of these elements. And classification would simply tell them about more about the elements, and it would help them in the systematic study of those elements. So they wanted to arrange the elements in a table, or they wanted to arrange or classify those elements on the basis of their properties, such as atomic sizes, valencies, and all that things. So because of those need of classification, there were so many transformations of this, what we see as today as the modern periodic table. So in the beginning there was no table like. So first a scientist called as Dobereinius, he was a scientist, a German scientist actually, and he gave a triad. He attempted to classify the elements on the basis of their properties, and all the elements which have similar properties were put in a group called a family. So he made a triad. That means he grouped three elements, and which he called as a triad. So he was the first scientist to show the relationship between the similar chemical properties and the atomic masses. Okay, so first we'll study about the Dobereinius triad. Dobereinius triad. Okay, so triad means a group of three elements. Okay, so in this triad, he actually, I'll just tell you the definition first. So in this, when elements are arranged in the order of increasing atomic number, masses. All these scientists in the beginning, they took atomic masses. So atomic masses, groups of three elements which are called as triads. So basically a group of three elements is called as triad, having similar chemical property are obtained. Okay, so the atomic mass, then the atomic mass of the other two other two elements so not the other two, the atomic mass of the middle element of the triad is equal to the arithmetic ARI arithmetic mean of the atomic masses of two elements. Okay, so this is the Doberanus triad, which means that if we take elements such as Doberanus took three triads, he made three triads. The first one was of alkali metal group, the other one was of alkaline earth metal group, and the third one was halogen group. So firstly, he took the elements. Number one, he made one triad in which he took three elements, that is lithium. Okay, then he took sodium and potassium. Okay, so atomic masses of lithium, sodium and potassium were like this. Lithium atomic mass. Okay, so lithium had atomic mass of 7 and potassium 39. So atomic according to this, if we'll calculate the arithmetic mean of both the things, will be 7 plus 39 upon 2. So if we bring an average, that is 23. That means the sodium had the middle element in the triad, the element which is in the middle element of the triad has atomic mass equal to the arithmetic mean of the atomic mass of the other two elements. So because its atomic mass is the arithmetic mean of this and this. Okay, so this was the first triad, which was of alkali metal group. Okay, so they have something in common, because his concept was he got a relationship between the elements when we arrange the elements in the increasing atomic masses. All these we can see they are increasing in number, so they have a similar chemical property. Now how can we know that they have a similar chemical property? Similar chemical property means that all these elements react with water to form alkali, that means bases, and they form hydrogen gases. Lithium does that, sodium does that, and potassium does that. Okay, and all of them have valency 1. This have valency 1 we all know. Okay, so and they all are metals. Okay, so they are having a similar property, that they are all metals. They will all react with water to form alkalis, and they will release hydrogen gas, and they have valency 1. Okay, so this is a similarity, and so this is a triad. So he also formed the other triad. The other one was second, was called as alkaline earth metal. Okay, so this also have a similarity. That means these elements are also metal, and they are found from the earth, and the oxides of these metal also forms alkaline. Alkaline earth metal has a calcium, then strontium and barium, which has same properties, such as they have valency 2, they are all metals, and they form oxides of them, and they are alkaline in nature. So their atomic masses are 40, and barium is having atomic mass 137. Now when we'll find out the arithmetic mean of these two, it will have to be equal to this strontium's atomic mass. So 40 plus 137 upon 2, and it is somewhat like 88.5. So the atomic mass of strontium is 88. Okay, so this is also it was also fulfilled triad. Now the third was of halogen family, halogen group, and they also have the similar properties. These elements which were in this triad, they are all non-metals, and they all react with water to form acids, and they all have valency 1. That means they are monovalent. And the non-metals, especially the halogen group, they forms acid when they are reacted with water, like chlorine, bromine and iodine. Okay, so chlorine, bromine and iodine have the atomic mass is 35.5, we know. Iodine has 127. So the arithmetic mean of these two will be 81.2, which is somehow near about this bromine's atomic mass. Okay, so this was the triad. So this Dobereinius was a scientist. His full name was Johann Wolfgang Dobereinius. He was a German scientist, and in 1877, so this Dobereinius triad was, it was formed in 1817. Okay, so according to this, there were some benefits. That means he found that there was a relation between the atomic masses when the elements are arranged in the increasing order, and that the elements chlorine, bromine, and iodine, they are known as halogens because they react with metals to form salts, and halo means salts and genes means producers. So, but limitations were there. It was failed. Dobereinius classification was failed because it failed. So, we'll write the limitation as well. So, limitations of Dobereinius triad was that it failed to arrange all the then known elements. It failed to arrange all the then known elements in the form of triads of elements having similar chemical property. That means Dobereinius could identify only 3 triads, and because they were the only known elements by the time, 36 elements were known only. So it was only, he was only able to make 3 triads, not more than that. And it was the first, actually there were some advantages also. That means it was the first attempt which relate the properties of the element to its atomic weight, and it makes a study a little simple. So because the classification was applicable only to the limited number of elements, and some elements in the triad were grouped by that time, but they didn't have any chemical relation between them. So the second arrangement came in 1864, was Newland's law of octave. Newland law of octave. Okay, so it was formed in 1864 by the scientist whose name was Newland. Okay, so he gave this law of octaves. Why we call it a law of octave? Because in the Hindi sargam we say saregama, but in the Western notes there is a note which is called as somehow like do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti. Okay, so it also has 7 surs in that. So according to this, he said that when elements are arranged, so he said that when elements are arranged in the order of increasing atomic masses, okay, so then the property of the eighth GH eighth element are a repetition of the first element. Okay, so now according to this, like if we arrange the elements one after the other, like hydrogen, so by the time the noble gases were not known, so hydrogen and then lithium, then beryllium, then boron, carbon, nitrogen and oxygen. So the other like fluorine, then sodium, magnesium, aluminium, silicon, phosphorus and sulfur, and chlorine, potassium and calcium. So we just have to learn about till the calcium. So he said that there is a relation that when we arrange all these elements in the increasing atomic masses, so they will have a relation, like every eighth element will have the same property of the first element. Like if we count from here, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8, so this F will be having relation with hydrogen. And if we'll count from here, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8, so this will have relation with this. So every element, every eighth element which is repetitive will have the similar property, which was somehow true, and it was good. But it was also not very successful, because it was able to set the relation between till the calcium, because they were the light elements, but it was not successful for the heavier elements. Like for the other elements like iron, nickel and cobalt, it was failed. I will tell you why. So now if we'll see that, here we can see a Newland law of octave triad is here, the Dobberinius triad is here, like lithium, sodium and potassium. Okay, and then here many more, like then calcium was in that before, in the previous triad, calcium was placed, if you see here, with strontium and barium. So it was because that time only 56 elements were known, so this Newland thought that only these elements will be known, and he did not leave any gaps or any places. So if when the helium was discovered, so if we will place it here, so it will all disturb this Newland law of octave, because then the 8 number will be to the oxygen, and hydrogen and oxygen do not have any similarities in between them. Okay, so it was also failed. Now we will have to write some merits and then demerits of this. So the merits were, the Newland classification was that it relates the property of the element. So it was a very good thing, because it explained that there is a link between the increased atomic masses and in their properties. So it indicates that there is a periodicity. Some limitations are that it failed for the heavier metals or elements actually beyond calcium. And after the discovery of noble gases, the idea was failed. So in your book also it's there, so go through this. These are the limitations of Newlands, so please go through this. And if you see here in this, you can find that cobalt and nickel are placed in the same slot, whereas cobalt and nickel resembles the property of iron, but iron is kept far away from this. Okay, so these are also the limitations, and he didn't give any explanation of doing this. So these were the limitations of the Newland law of octave, and you can also read from this. So after that we will be doing Mendeleev's periodic table, but that will be in the next lecture. So till then, read the questions and topics from your book and try to do the question answers. Till then, take care. Thank you.